Hi, welcome to this week's Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show. I'm your host, John Moses. Later in today's show, we'll be joined by Chargers quarterback Ryan Olszewski. But now, as always, we're joined by Chargers head coach Pete Rossimondo. Pete, coming off a 45-38 victory over Bentley University, what was the best part of that victory on Saturday?
Winning. I mean, the end of the game when the clock ticked down to 0 was certainly good to get off that field with a W.
Well, yeah, I mean, Bentley came in, they're a very disciplined team. I mean, what did they really show you on Saturday?
Well, they showed us what we knew, that they had an outstanding quarterback and a really gutsy group of receivers, and they had a plan and they executed the plan fairly well. They had a bunch of plays that we weren't prepared for, trick plays, if you would, and that happened to work for them, and they made some really big plays. I thought we'd be able to move the ball, and we did, and it turned out pretty good for us the way we could score points.
Right, at one point in the second quarter, you had the lead 24-13, and then you really saw how many big plays Bentley's offense and how dangerous they really were. Take us through that sequence towards the end of the half that led to Bentley tying the game into the locker room.
We had exploded early, which is not unlike us, very uncharacteristic of our team. But we got out early and we were able to make some plays, and between Ryan and Demetrius and the run-in of Mike DeCaro and Anthony Tillman, we were able to get on top. And they clawed back as they held us to a field goal to get us to 24, and then they clawed back and hit us with a couple big plays. And unfortunately, we were able to get the ball back with over almost 2 minutes left in the game, and we were able to go down and kick a field goal to tie it going into halftime. So that was sort of how it all unfolded.
Well, Ryan finished his day 16 of 22 for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns. I thought this was one of Ryan's smartest performances. He didn't force things down the field. Took a sack when he had to or threw it away. How did you characterize his performance?
Ryan played well. That's the way he's been playing all year long, and getting better each week, and just trying to make mentally make the right plays on the field, and he's been able to do that, and even used his legs a little bit to get us out of trouble on a 4th down play. Made an outstanding standing run for a first down, and then scored a touchdown running the ball.
Well, let's take a look at actually one of those plays where he uses his legs. This was a big 4th down. Tell us about this drive and where things have been heading at this point.
Well, aggressive defense. We figured we'd run the play action, get Josh in the flat, and they covered it pretty well. Ryan gave him a little pump fake and was able to get the kid off the ground, and then he saw an opening to the left side and took off for the first down, which is, it's a really good play by him to just get out of trouble.
Boy, that's just a nice show there. I mean, he doesn't have anything down the field. The initial read was taken away, so he stayed with it and just took what the defense gave him in that scenario.
Yeah, if it was me, I would have probably told him to throw the ball away, but he was able to tuck it. He saw an opening and he ran the ball, so it was great to have that play.
And in the second highlight clip, actually, we see a little bit more of Ryan's wheels. I mean, we don't really expect him to be a speedy guy, a guy who's going to get outside the pocket and run for a lot of yards. But, in this second highlight, he really shows us he has something.
Yeah, this was, design pass play to Demetrius, and they were in man coverage, and Ryan broke the line and saw there was an opening and took off for the end zone. Ryan's more like a Cadillac. Once he gets rolling, he can get up to 100 miles an hour, but he needs a little time to get rolling.
Yeah, he actually gets a little bit of help at the end of this play when Chris Ruffin takes his defender across the field. You see him come across the clip there.
Yeah.
And that opened up the corner for him.
Yeah.
I think one of the best parts of the talent you have compiled at wide receiver is that Ryan doesn't feel forced to get it to just the 1 or 2 playmakers he has. I mean, how has that really helped in his development to have a lot of options?
Well, the good thing about Ryan is he's able to read defenses now. I think a lot more consistently, so he doesn't really have to worry about getting the ball to a specific receiver on a specific play. And even when we do have a specific receiver called, he's able to get off and get to another receiver if that happens to be covered.
Demetrius Washington Ellison is one of those guys who's been banged up a little bit this season. Tell us about what he's been going through, and we saw him at 100% this week against Bentley.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks he's been last 3 weeks really. Southern really was the first week he was really healthy. Running full speed, and saw some of his explosiveness on kick returns, and now he is actually working on the things that he needs to work on, his route running and getting open, his blocking, those types of things. So we're really, we're excited to have him back at 100%.
Well, in this third highlight clip, we get a pretty good look at just some nice route running and a pretty easy throw by Ryan for this touchdown.
Yeah, it was a design play, game plan based on what they did to the specific formation, and Ryan saw the safety come down on, I think it was Josh Smart, and then he just knew he had Demetrius one-on-one on the corner on the outside and put it only where he could catch it.
Wayne Credites had himself a fantastic day. 10 catches, 147 yards. What did he do to make him so successful against your defense? And did you give any thought to bringing some double coverage his way?
We don't really double cover, and it's not part of our defensive game plan. But he just made some outstanding catches. He was covered on a lot of them, and just went up and made a play, physical play. And he's a senior, and he's a guy that we knew was a playmaker for them. But sometimes it's easier said than done to get people over on him.
In 2009, Camille Lashley was a big part of the passing game, but over the last 2 years, his role in your offense has changed. He's become more of an H-back, more of a blocker, and you haven't used him as much in the passing game. Why is that?
It has really nothing to do with the offense. It just has to do with what the defense has given us. They're taking away some of those throws that we had to him last year and giving us some throws out to Jason Thompson and Chris Ruffin and those types of guys. So, there was nothing that we took the focus off of them. They're just taking those things away and allowing us to go to other receivers.
Yeah, I feel like, Camille he's such an interesting factor in your offense because when you can find him open underneath, he has such a size advantage against so many linebackers and defensive backs at this level that he just really gives your team another element in the passing game.
Yeah, it's when we can get him involved in the offense, it certainly helps us over the top of in pass game. But, it has to be open for us to throw it, and, that's one of the things that we've been good at this year. And this was one of those games where he was open, so we were able to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and Ryan took advantage of it in this next highlight clip by finding him in the end zone on another pretty nice play here.
Yeah, this is a bootleg throwback, and we got him in man coverage, and Camille did a great job, as you could see from this part of the clip, where he fakes the block on the outside and then just takes off around the guy, and that was the guy that was supposed to be covering him.
Right, and that's that little wheel route again, where again you brought the post pattern on top with the wide receiver and just had Camille run underneath that.
Yeah.
That's not the first time we've seen that on this show this year.
Yeah, that was Stonehill clip as well, the same play, and we happened to catch them in the same basic defense.
One thing I pinpointed before this game, in our keys to the game on the air with WNHU, we talked about how special teams would be very important in this game. We felt like the Chargers had to dominate on special teams both in kick coverage and in the punt return game. How did you feel about how your special teams did on Saturday?
I thought we played outstanding. I mean, our kick, I don't think they got out past the 20 more than one or two times on kick returns, and we kicked off a lot. And I think that our punt team did a really, really good job. Chris Schifo averaged 35 yards again this week, so I think that part of our game was really impressive. I think our kick return was a little disappointing. I thought we could have had some more explosive plays in that area of the special teams, but for the most part, the grade was a B.
Who do you think is your team's defensive MVP so far this season?
It's hard to get into that right now, but someone on our defensive line would probably be one of those guys that we would look to. Our defensive line's playing outstanding.
At one point in this game, I said to myself, it's going to come down to one turnover or to whoever's defense can come up with a stop down the stretch of this game. And as we can see in this next highlight clip here, Tom Hurd had a real big part in coming up with the stop down the stretch to win this game for your team.
Yeah, Tom's been a great, we missed him a lot last week in the game, and, this is where they tried to cut him with the tackle, and, Tom is a really difficult guy to get down on the ground in these instances, and made a really athletic play and, was able to sack a guy that has a great quick release there.
This weekend, your team welcomes in the Merrimack College Warriors, a team you played a very close game with last season. And, where are their strengths, and what can we expect this game to look like on Saturday?
Well, offensively, their strengths in their quarterback. He's an outstanding dual threat. He can throw and run. He got a tremendous receiver in Isaiah Vogelai, and he really stretches the field for him vertically. And I think he's averaging over 25 yards a catch, if I'm not mistaken. But he's an outstanding player. Defensively, they got pretty good players on every level. Tony Johnson, Nick Desjardins, they're two defensive linemen that we feel are excellent players. Their linebacker, Sean Loazo, he's one of the best players in the country in Division II. And Artis Holt and Fowler, their other corner, are pretty good.
Right, people that are familiar with last year's game, Loazo just had a great game that day. What makes him so special?
He can run. He can fly. He runs like a receiver, and he throws like a quarterback. And with that combination, dangerous.
Is there one area or one key that you've really pinpointed for a victory on Saturday?
I think it's early to say right now. I think obviously turnovers are going to have a huge factor in the game. They always do, especially for us. I don't think there was a turnover in the game on Saturday, so it really came down to what special teams, offense and defense, played better, and that's what you want the game to be. And hopefully this week is the same way for us.
Well, Coach, thanks for your time, and good luck this Saturday against Merrimack.
Thanks, John.
On the other side of this break, we'll come back with Chargers quarterback Ryan Olszewski. This is the Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show.